We're going to come back in studio because I've always had a problem papering my books when it's time to go back to school. Now, the copybooks are fine, but when it comes to the notebooks and the textbooks, those were some really, really challenging times. And I know I am not the only one as relates to that. I'm sure Carrie had problems. So he's going to learn. We are going to both be taught on how to paper books.
Well, no, it's time for DIY now. It's DIY on a Thursday. I'm joined here by Keisha Boynes of Keisha's book papering service.
Book covering service.
Book covering service. And she's going to show us how to cover books. Now, I used to have to do this a lot as a child. I don't know how good I was, but at least I had my books covered. I wouldn't get licks in school for not having my books covered. But Keisha, how did you come about, with this idea to do this as a service?
One year, a friend of mine, she asked me, and I was pregnant at the time. I wasn't able to work anymore, and I didn't have anything else to do. I had always seen my grandmother and my aunts doing it for me as a child. I always wanted to help. And back then they would do it the old-fashioned way. They'd do brown paper,
right,
and then they would put the labels and they would write it in their neatest penmanship. And of course I wanted to get in on the action. And then they would cover it with the clear plastic, and some of my books even, and this is like 20 years later, still intact. So it's something that I had always seen growing up. And I just, after doing it 1 year, this is my 4th year offering the service, it turned into a good, profitable seasonal business.
Really?
Yes.
Now, from my experience, I would spend hours and hours and hours papering every single copybook, every single notebook, then every single textbook. And the way in which my grandmother used to approach things, she would help us build character by doing the stuff for your brothers and sisters as well. So I would find myself one holiday season, like, close to the end of August, I'd find myself papering maybe 50-something books myself.
So that's not a lot in the scheme of things. But
well, as a kid, at like 7, 8 years old, it seems
it
like...
It seems a lot, like an insurmountable task.
Yeah, that's right.
So
I wish your service existed at the time.
Well, it does now, and this is our 4th year of operation, and I think it's a blessing to a lot of parents who maybe want to but don't have the time, and also to those who just aren't that crafty with their hands. The books don't come out neat, they don't last the entire school term, so that's where we really step in. What's unique to what I offer, most persons would know about the regular brown paper. So I'm going to show you this one.
Okay.
But I offer a patterned adhesive. So this is like what they would do. They would put the clear paper over your book.
Right.
But this cuts down on your work by half. So it already has a color. It already has a pattern. I have it available in several designs. But this one, you just cut, apply, and go. So I have a variety of books I'm going to show you first with a notebook. There's 2 techniques. So one you use when the book has a staple. So like this, you would know because you would open it up.
Right.
So these are the easier ones to cover. So I'm going to go ahead and show you. You take your book, you put it in on your contact paper.
Okay.
And you're going to measure.
Is on the upside down now.
Correct. So you put it on the flip side, not on the side of the pattern. It already comes with grids so that you have a pretty easy idea of what you're going to be doing. And you want to leave at least 1 centimeter on either side.
Okay.
So simple tools, good old-fashioned ruler, pencil, and you're going to draw a line along what they already have to ensure that when you cut straight. So you want to give it a shot?
Okay, I hope I don't mess it up. You're the professional here.
Ready?
All right, so I just need to draw a line, and you
Correct.
said 1
All the way
centimeter off and...
Correct. And we're going to go a little higher up as well.
Okay.
So let's move the ruler.
But I think I just slightly went off there.
Not a chance. So go ahead and complete your line. So it's always important when you're going to cover your books, measure first. Now I have 2 scissors that I like. This one is sharper, but this one is thinner. So I use this one to cut and then this one to finish off the book. So I'll show you the first one. Pretty simple. You just take your scissors, start. So usually 1 book would take me, in terms of cutting, applying, and adding a label, it would take me about 3 minutes.
That's not bad at all.
So now you're going to remove your book. You can push it up some. Now because the book doesn't have a spine with a staple, we're going to fold it exactly in half.
Okay.
So you can fold it in half like this and crease it. Ready? So now you can turn it to you. So you can crease it here.
Actually crease it along this.
Correct.
Yep.
So that's where you know the spine of the book has to go. You're going to start and remove the paper backing. It's a little tricky. I don't suggest that they have long nails when they try to do this. It will definitely slow you down some.
Long nails will slow you down?
It will. So you pull off some of the backing, just hold it back. Now you're going to apply your book on the grid. You would leave out that same 1 centimeter that you had originally.
Right. Yeah.
And when you've lined it up straight, you can go ahead and release the book and press it down. Turn it over. Now we're going to go moving along and remove all of the air bubbles.
Ah.
So yeah, because you want a nice smooth finish on your books.
I definitely didn't have this technique when I was papering books.
Right. So you just pull the backing off with your left hand, or if you're a right-hander, you would left-hander, you would do it the other way.
Right.
You just pull the backing off, and that's the back of the book. You're going to turn it over now. Reveal some more of the adhesive. So this is actually sticky. It's going to remain on the book until you decide to take it off.
Okay.
Put down the book. And you do the same thing. You pull while you remove the air bubbles. My aunts were a little bit impressed. They were like, we didn't have these colors and stuff when we were doing your book.
Exactly, that I was
Yeah,
thinking as well.
they-
All I had was brown paper.
You just had brown, I know.
And-
Scotch tape.
Scotch,
Yeah,
well,
that's
actually,
right.
we don't do Scotch tape anymore because I find it a bit messy in terms of the application. What we would use when we are actually doing the brown paper books, we use the glue. So I'm going to show you. So I take my thinner scissor now, and I'm going to cut into the corner of the books on one
I
side.
see, right.
You're going to do it for all 4 corners. 2, flip the book over. You're going to do the same thing here. And again. And there we go. Let me just remove this so that they can see clearly. I'm going to hold with my left hand because I'm right-handed, and I'm going to hold the paper tight and start to press down.
Ah, so
To
you
apply it
crease
to the book.
against the
Correct.
edge of the book as well.
I always start with the free edge first. So I've done the back. Then I'm going to flip it over. And I'm going to do the same thing to the front cover of the book. Now, you see, because we use our ruler and our pencil, very simple tools, you've ensured that everything is going to be neat. The next thing we're going to do is open the book to the middle.
Right.
Because it has the staples, we can lift it up. You're going to raise. And then you're going to apply the adhesive. Same motion, pulling. You're going to do the same for the back of the book. And that's it. Turn around, and you're doing the same thing
Same
on the other
process.
side. So it's very repetitive. Usually your first book, you may have a little bit of either an air bubble. It may not be applied tight, but by the time you get the hang of it, it's pretty simple. It is time consuming, however. I'm just going to cut off the excess. That's 4 triangles. I usually just stick them on the edge of my table. And I have over here a label for you. You want to take a
Wow.
shot at putting these on?
Yeah, sure.
These are actually custom labels that I prepare, so they would have a character of the child or the parents choosing. And then the child's name, I usually put in the subject and the school. And that's it. Grab your ruler. Now for notebooks, I usually put them to the bottom here, so you can
Okay.
measure how far you want it.
All right, so let's do a little measuring.
So
This
I would
takes
go
me
up
back
the
to,
entire
math
width of the
class.
ruler, so it's really easy. You just rest it in.
Right.
You have your label.
And I'd say 4 is the center of the book here now.
Correct. And we're just gonna drop it in, and then you can smooth it on.
All
You
right,
could go ahead and show them your finished product.
good to go. So Jaren Soothing now has a book ready to go.
He does.
Popular Superman Kyrie Roberts.
Yeah, I didn't do much. I followed instructions and I looked on
But
for most of it.
what I think is very difficult is papering textbooks with brown paper. Do you paper textbooks with brown paper?
I certainly do, based on parents' requests. Some schools are pretty strict. They want the brown paper only. I guess they don't want the children to be distracted with some of the bright colors, but in my opinion, it does help the teachers to be able to differentiate between each child's books. So let's have a look. I brought a textbook that's a bit thicker because, you know, with the changing in curriculum and all of that, they have a lot more information in their books.
That's
So
right.
we're going to have a go at this one. So if you would have a look on the side here, you'd see it has a thicker spine.
Right.
So we want to accommodate for that. And do you want to choose a paper pattern?
I see brown paper.
Yeah, I want to try the brown paper just because you know, that's what a lot of people are so used to, so,
Right.
so that they can see the application of what they are accustomed
What they,
to.
okay,
Yeah.
so let's go. So with the brown paper, we're just gonna pull out some of the roll, and we're gonna take our sheet, and I'm gonna put the book all the way down to the bottom corner. Now you'll notice that the roll is a bit wide,
Right.
so we just have to measure. Now with this one, in order to get it straight, we've come straight to the corner. We didn't leave an excess like we did for the contact paper. So we're gonna take our ruler, and we're gonna leave 2 ruler lengths on the side of the book to accommodate for some excess on top and at the bottom.
I see.
Follow me?
Yep.
So I'm going to just draw a short line so that I know where to go. And then I'm going to draw my line going all the way through the width of the brown paper. So again, very simple with the brown paper. Now I know that I'm not going to use the entire width of it, so I'm just going to stop there.
There's so much methodology behind everything.
Yeah, there's
As
a
you said,
method
you-
to the madness.
And you said you use the glue as compared to using the
Correct.
Scotch
So
tape.
I don't use Scotch tape. I find it looks a bit untidy, and then with the Scotch tape too, sometimes it gets on the book, and in terms of wanting to resell after or pass on to a sibling or a cousin like you had, you really want the books to be in their best condition. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut along the line that I just drew. I'm going to use the other pair of scissors. I find this one is sticking a bit. And cut all the way down. And there we go. So we can put this aside. What we are going to need from here on is just our paper. So I can average about the same ruler length of excess for the free edge of the book, or I can measure it. So I'll measure it so you can see what's being done. So by the time I put down my ruler, I'll bring down my book
Right.
and just ensure that it's even on both sides. And I'm going to start with the back first. So I'm going to make sure that you can see this. I'm going to lift it up, and I'm going to make my first fold to the free edge of the back of the book. So that's the first thing that we've done here,
Right.
folded for the free edge. Now I do like, you know, hospital corners when you're making your bed? So I'm going to crease the free edge and fold it into, I'm going to take the free edge and fold it into a triangle to the end of the book. And this method, instead of just folding, the paper on it really adheres to the book without you even putting the glue, but the glue is
Okay.
for reinforcement.
I see, and you tuck it
So then I
underneath.
tuck it into the book, and there's my first corner.
Right.
I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Take the edge and fold it into the end of the book to make a little triangle. You always want to make very sharp corners
This is a little bit detailed. If we could get a little close up on it so that the public
so that
can
they
see
can see. Sure.
what we're doing.
And then I'm going to cut again. So I'm just going to cut. So if you notice the spine of the book, if you lift up the cover, it doesn't go all the way back like the
Like
notebook
with the
would
notebook,
have.
right.
So that's where you have to cut. So I'm going to cut here, not to the end of the book. And then I'm going to do the same thing. Take the free edge, and you can go ahead and fold it into the textbook.
So I fold
Right
it.
here. No, don't lift the textbook because
Oh.
you want to see where
I'm
it's going. So you
I
just
see, I
take
see.
the free the corner here, and you're folding it to make a triangle.
Okay, like that. And then
And crease it. Make sure you have a sharp edge.
use my nail there to
Gotcha.
get it down
Right.
sharper, right?
So then we're going to lift the book up now and fold it in.
Just directly in like this?
Correct.
Okay, good. I'm following.
So like I said, the first one may take some time, but by the time you get the hang of it, it's easy. And that's your first on that
And
side.
it's so neat. It's so very neat.
So there's no excess, there's nothing hanging off. We're going to cut again on this side. Now you notice I have a lot of extra paper there that I haven't done anything with.
Right.
So I'll show you that in a second. And I'm going to fold this free edge, and that's the back of our book already covered. Everything is neat, nothing is hanging over. I'm going to flip the book now onto the remainder of the paper. Take my ruler, and I'm going to measure the remainder of the free edge. Take my pencil, some measuring, and then I'm going to cut. I'm going to remove the excess brown paper so that I can finish the cover. You don't want to leave too much brown paper on the inside. To me, that looks untidy,
Right.
and it's not necessary. And this
You
brown
putting
paper I
yourself
can
into-
actually use to maybe cover a copybook or a storybook based on the size, a dictionary based on the size.
So you save yourself some money by being accurate
correct,
as well.
because nothing is.
Nothing is free, nothing is cheap.
That's right. So I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing that we did with the book. I'm lifting it up to fold the free edge first. Always make sure to crease very sharp.
Right?
We're going to take the corner and fold it into the book. This is
You're
what we're
making
going to
a
tuck in.
triangle.
Correct. So it's like making a little pocket to hold the book in.
Right. This is the first time I've ever seen this technique.
So this year, my sisters and my cousins are so graciously helping me. And they all remarked they never had to do their books like this. They would just fold it in and that would be the end of it. So we're taking the free edge, bringing it to the book. And we're going to tuck it in just like we did the others. And the last one, we're going to cut again.
Fold in that
Correct.
triangle, the hospital fold.
Correct. Well, I call it a hospital fold for books. And then you just pull it in. And that is our book.
And then what happens to the excess here?
So the excess now, I'm going to get this bit of, so I'm going to take our scissors and I'm going to cut the top closest to me, furthest away, and then I'm going to cut off the excess on the spine of the book. Second one, I'm going to do the same thing. And that is it. Our book is covered now. To keep everything intact, I just use a bit of clear glue. Now with textbooks, as I mentioned, because sometimes you may want to restyle them, you're not going to apply any to the textbook itself.
Right.
You're just going to let it give you a
Just
dot in the corner.
in the corners of the brown paper
Correct.
itself.
Any excess, you just wipe it off. You're going to do the same thing on the next side. One dot in the corner. Put it in. It's not going to dry right away, but by the time you finish all your books, you should be ready. A little bit of glue. Nothing is going on the book for the textbooks. Sometimes for the notebooks, I may just glue it to the cover because you're not going to reuse the notebook once it's done.
Right.
And there you have your book all
And
covered.
perfectly covered. This is the neatest book I've seen covered.
Yeah.
That is impressive. Now, I wish I had this technique when I was papering my own books. For those asking on social media, yes, I papered my own books, or at least attempted to.
All right, so Keisha Boynes, I want to thank you so much for joining us this morning and showing us, because I'm sure there are a number of parents who, you know, they have a lot of books to paper this
They do.
coming season and all that. If they don't want to, they could always give you a call.
They
at-
most certainly can. My number is 313-7874. You can also reach us on Facebook. It's Keisha's Book Covering Service.
All right, well, I want to thank you so much again. We're going to take a short break and come back with much more. Stay with us.
Do it yourself. Brought to you by TNZ Home Improvement Center, making home improvement easy since 1986.